Hari Om Vidhyabhaskar Ji, and welcome to our viewers on this Dharma and Veganism series. This is video number 3 or part 3, and we actually thought what a great time to be doing a video today, whilst it is Janmashtami for many today, but Vidhyabhaskar Ji has just informed me that actually it's tomorrow, but it's according to the lunar calendar. So anyway, we're going to do a short video on Janmashtami, not what Janmashtami is, because of course those of you who are watching this will already probably have an idea, but for those of you who perhaps don't have an idea, it's Lord Krishna's birthday and a celebration, and Hindus across the world will be celebrating Lord Krishna's birthday today, tomorrow. And in fact, we wanted to discuss one of the ideas that many Hindus have about Lord Krishna, and the idea that, you know, he loves butter, he's a makhanjor, he adores cows, and therefore he can drink their milk, and therefore we can also continue to consume dairy products in this day and age, despite the awful realities of the dairy industry. By the way, for those who don't know what these awful realities are, in a nutshell, you know, the cows are, they suffer endlessly in the dairy industry. In fact, a lot of my work that I've done with farmers and spoken to farmers, even farmers themselves have confirmed that dairy farmers are looked down upon by other farmers because of the endless torture and suffering that is inflicted upon dairy cows. So even a beef cow, so cows raised for the consumption of their flesh only, they are even treated better than dairy cows. So that's just to sort of put into context what or where I am coming from. This isn't a video to take you through those awful realities. I've done other videos on that, so go through the YouTube channel. There's one on there on the realities of dairy. But that's just to put into context, actually, that consuming dairy is, in today's day and age, in terms of suffering, worse than consuming beef, because of what the cow goes through, what her children go through. And ultimately, when she can't give any more milk, she is sent to the slaughterhouse anyway for her flesh to then be consumed. So anyway, over to Vidhyabhaskar Ji. Janmashtami, I think, you know, for those who aren't vegan, and if they're celebrating Janmashtami, isn't this the most perfect day to actually go vegan?
Well, in a nutshell, yes. So now we can go and have some vegan chai, and we can conclude this discussion.
Absolutely.
So, Dinaji, you've covered most of the points. I assume we don't need to go once again into the explanation that Krishna is Gopala, the protector of cows, right? Anyone with a Hindu background knows that Krishna is not the torturer of cows, but their protector. Therefore, isn't it logical that Krishna in today's day and age would be protecting the cows from the dairy industry and not causing them to be in the dairy industry's torture chambers? That should be quite obvious. But apart from that, let me take you through a little discourse, and I hope it's not too boring for your viewers. Krishna is Govinda, the finder of cows, the one who finds the cows. What on earth does that mean? Govinda is in fact an ancient name for Indra in the Rig Veda, the oldest scripture of Hinduism. And in that context, you should know that Indra is also the best friend of Vishnu. Indrasya Yujyasakha in the Rig Veda. So Indra and Vishnu are close collaborators. And at times, and this will be strange for you, Dinaji, Vishnu simply is Indra. Now, for a modern human being in the 21st century, what on earth does that mean? It means nothing, right? How is Vishnu Indra? It means nothing. And for your viewers, it also means little. But let me explain something. It is Indra who is Govinda. And it is because Vishnu is Indra that he is also Govinda. And it is only derived from that context that Krishna is then called Govinda. So what is Govinda in the Rig Veda? Go are the clouds. And in the clouds is the nectar. What nectar? The rain. Because, Dinaji, when you live in a society that depends upon rain to live, the clouds are divine for you. And the lightning that strikes the clouds and releases their nectar, the water, becomes divine. Do you see that, Dinaji? When you live in a world where you can't go to your local supermarket and just buy water for your crops and for your, sorry, I'll turn this off, and for your land to prosper. Do you understand? You then depend on nature to survive. And then when you see that, oh my goodness, it has been 2 months of no rain, you start to worry. And you start to pray to Indra, Govinda, the finder of the clouds. Do you get the point? And then the clouds begin to emerge. Now, your viewers who live in the 21st century and who are quite conceited, all of you, you think this is all nonsense, don't you? You think that all those mythical people, all the Native Americans and all the ancient peoples, the shamans of Siberia and all the ancient spiritual people are all fools, don't you? That's what you really think, don't you? If you look honestly into your heart. But I don't think that, because you see, my dears, I have actually seen shamans invoke the god of rain, and within 15 minutes it rained. How did that happen? I personally know and believe very much that these powers still exist. But you, my dears, who live only in the 21st century, you think this is all nonsense and it's a superstition and mythology. I don't believe that, because I've seen it myself. Absolutely blue sky, and within 15 minutes there were clouds and it rained, and then there was a rainbow. And a rainbow is called the weapon of Indra. It's called the bow of Indra. So, my dears, I personally actually believe that the rain god exists. You see, I'm outing myself here as a fool in your eyes. But just to proudly present my credentials, do you know I have a doctorate in social sciences? I'm a pretty modern person. I'm an Acharya in Sanskrit, and I have an MA in comparative religion and a doctorate in social sciences. So do you really think I'm just a fool to believe in the god of rain? No, I'm quite an intellectual person. I'm quite capable of discussing Immanuel Kant and discussing Heidegger and discussing Derrida and Michel Foucault, all the modern philosophers of the 20th century. I'm quite comfortable doing that. So, my dears, can you stop being so arrogant in believing that all people in ancient times were just fools and you happen to be the wise ones? You're not, all right? It is just your lack of exposure to these traditions, my dears. Therefore, now, please listen, open your ears and listen. The ancients believed, and rightly so, that Indra, Vishnu, when invoked properly, brings the clouds out, and then it will begin to rain. My dearly beloved, the word Govinda only means this, that Indra brings the clouds. He finds the clouds. Vinda is linked to the English word find. Can you see the connection? Vinda and find. Yes? It only means that and nothing more, because the word go means cloud in the Rig Veda. Now, symbolically, Indra is invoked as protecting the clouds, as releasing the clouds from the clench, from the evil Vritra. Vritra is the enveloper, the one who holds the clouds enveloped in darkness. So my dearly beloved, have you ever heard anything of the Swiss psychologist C.G. Jung, who analyzes ancient myths in the light of modern psychology? The Rigveda says that in the clouds is the truth, in the cows is the truth, and Indra saves the cows from the evil one who is enveloping them in darkness and releases them from untruth. The evil one is called Asat, and that which is in the cows is called Sat. Now, my dearly beloved, have you ever heard the prayer? Om Asat Oma Sadgamaya. Please bring us from the Asat, the untruth which is covering the clouds or the cows in darkness. Bring us to the truth, the nectar in the clouds, the rain that nourishes us, the nectar of truth. Last point, my dearly beloved. The symbolism is not only external. Our own minds are covered in the clouds of ignorance, and within those clouds is the nectar of wisdom and bliss and love. Love for all beings, compassion for all beings. So there are prayers in the scriptures addressed again to Indra. Prajnati Kshnena Vajrena. Through the I quoted it wrongly. Prajna Vajrena Tikshmena. Through the sharp thunderbolt of wisdom, may the clouds of ignorance in me dissolve, and may they release the nectar of love and joy and all-round compassion. Now, my dearly beloved, does the word Govinda really mean someone who milks cows and steals their milk from the calves greedily, and then in the 21st century makes a dairy industry out of it? Please see this. Have some respect for Sanskrit scholars who explain to you the meaning of the scriptures, and also have some respect for major psychologists like C.G. Jung, who analyze what myths really mean. All right? So, Dinaji, I know I'm giving a monologue here, but can I continue?
Of course.
So now, those of you who know the Gita also know that the Gita begins with the Gita Dhyanam, the meditation on the Gita. And there it says, Sarvo Parishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana Partho Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitam Ritam Mahat. That the Upanishads are the cows. The one milking them is Gopala, the protector of the cows, Krishna. The calf is Arjuna. The wise person is the enjoyer, and the milk, the nectar, is the Gita. What? It's again telling us that it is symbolic. The Gita is the nectar extracted by Krishna from the Upanishads, which are much older than the Gita, and which are a little more complex to understand. Krishna is the one milking the Upanishads, extracting the nectar. Arjuna is the calf drinking it, not the dairy industry. Arjuna is the calf drinking it. That shows us that the ancients wanted only the calves to drink the milk, right? Why would they say the calf? But the enjoyer is the wise person today. You, Dinaji, your viewers, you are the wise person who can be the enjoyer of the nectar of the Gita, and surely not the milk. Right? So, all I would ask of your viewers is to understand symbolic language vis-a-vis literal language. The ancients were all poets. They were all working in terms of poetry and metaphors. Up until, I would say, the early 20th century, the human being was quite a metaphorical being. Everyone was speaking in metaphors, not in literal language. So, is it clear now, Dinaji?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it's abundantly clear. And throughout your teachings over the years, I've continuously found over and over again that the sacred scriptures that others keep referring to and that you have referred to as well, they were never designed, they were never written to be taken literally. They always had these beautiful undertones. They had these beautiful symbolic extractions that you described the wise person. The wise person had to be wise enough to be able to extract the message, which actually meant that we have to stop and think and dissect and really sort of get a feel for what the prose is trying to tell us, rather than this literal permission that despite the realities that are being presented to you about the torture and suffering, the scriptures say we can still keep drinking milk because Lord Krishna kept drinking milk. It just doesn't make sense. We cannot, on the one hand, pray and adore and love Lord Krishna and his playfulness and his protector, the love he had for the cows, the protector of cows. And then on the other hand, we are saying that actually if he's the protector of cows, he also therefore allows us to continue drinking milk that comes from the torture of these beings. It doesn't make sense. It's an oxymoron, and it's hypocritical for us to think that.
In all political correctness and with all the humility and modesty instilled into me by my teachers, anyone who misunderstands this is a moron. Right? This is a modern English word, is a moron who is taking something literal which is meant to teach you compassion for all beings. Please. Sarva Bhuta Hidevata, the Gita says, compassion for all beings. Only sattvic is only that which brings love. The Gita says, Sukha Priti Vivardhana, which brings joy and love. That is sattvic. Come on, can something be sattvic where mother cows are mistreated? Isn't that logical?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, for viewers who are moved by this video and are wondering, gosh, I would absolutely like to try plant-based products. I mean, you only now have to go into your local supermarket and along the same aisle where the cow's milk is kept. If you just walk 10 steps down and look to your right or left, you will see an abundance, an array of plant-based milks. And, a lot of people ask me,
rice milk is better with coffee than cow milk. Even soy milk is better with coffee than cow milk.
Yes, yeah. Yes, and I absolutely. I mean, we have all this variety of, oat milk, cow,
oat milk is also great. Yeah.
Yeah, and, I always say to people who want to try these milks that, actually it's a personal taste. And, I always recommend go out and buy 2 or 3 and try them in your teas and coffees, because I like oat milk and soya milk. You might prefer rice milk and almond milk, and it's on personal taste. And like with anything, I mean, somebody could be told you have high blood pressure, you need to reduce your salt, for example. It will take 2, 3, 4 days for your taste buds to adapt to the new taste of a reduction in salt. In the same way, if you've been consuming dairy products and cow's milk in your foods, in your teas and coffees all your life, unknowingly and not aware of the suffering that goes on, once you make this shift in consciousness and then you put that into action by buying plant-based milks, give yourself a few days to get used to it. You might not like it straight away. A lot of people don't like it straight away, but I promise you will get used to it. And I promise you that, there will never be a lack of the variety in these plant-based foods and milks. And if you're also thinking that, well, what about Indian foods? What about kadhi and dhokla and siro and all these lovely Indian foods, Gujarati foods that we enjoy that traditionally have plant-based, traditionally have dairy products in them? well, you only just have to Google recipes online. I mean, contact me and I will happily share with you my mom's recipes. We have absolutely every single thing. There is not one single thing that we do not have, but my mum has adapted with plant-based products. The only one thing she is still yet to perfect is gulab jamu, but I don't care about that because I was never a fan of gulab jamu anyway. But absolutely everything else.
It's also diabetes.
Exactly.
Dinaji, can I say something about makhan chor?
Please.
The one who steals the butter. If you apply some buddhi, buddhi has 8 parts, 8 aspects. We can have a different session on this. Buddhi means intelligence. If you apply some buddhi, isn't it evident that the scripture is telling us that Krishna only likes the essence of the essence? Because the makhan, the butter, is the essence of the essence of the essence, right? Isn't it obvious? So the scriptures actually tell us Krishna only loves the essence of the essence. That's the absolute reality. He only loves the true nature of all things, your own soul. He doesn't look at the temporary outer things. He doesn't look at the grass. He doesn't look at the cow digesting the grass. He doesn't look at the milk even. He only looks at the butter. Did you see? This is a metaphor for the essence of all things. And what is the essence of things? It is that your true nature is absolute consciousness, infinite like the sky. That is the butter of all truth, you see? And now, Dinaji, the next point, or the last point is this. The guru of my family guru, so Swami Shivananda, he famously said, when you practice spirituality and you encounter suffering, let your heart melt like butter. Makhan chor means that Krishna steals the heart of the devotees who are full of compassion. You understand? When your heart is full of compassion for all beings, then Krishna steals your heart. Then he loves your heart. Then he becomes Manamohana, the one who enchants your heart, your mind. That is the meaning of Makhan chor, not that Krishna was running around stealing butter. And even if he was, historically, clearly that doesn't mean he was living in the dairy industry of torture, right? He was living in a cow-loving environment, obviously, right? So, do you understand? When you develop unconditional love and compassion for all beings, then your heart melts like butter. And then Krishna comes and enjoys you, and you enjoy him. You understand?
That's beautiful. That's a really, really beautiful explanation of Makhan chor. And I didn't know the part about the compassion and the devotee's heart is full of compassion, and then you make space for Krishna to come and reside in you, and you reside in him. That's beautiful. Thank you for that, Vidhyabhaskarji. I really appreciate your explanations. And for the viewers, I mean, if this video doesn't give you enough of a reason to at least consider veganism, please scroll through my videos. There are a number of videos there. Ones where I visited slaughterhouses as well, where dairy cows are going in, milk still coming out of their udders, and they're on their way to slaughter. And there's also a very succinct 10-minute video on the realities of the dairy industry. So have a look at that, and then combine that knowledge with what Vidhyabhaskarji has shared. And it would be therefore nonsensical to not actually go vegan in this day and age, especially when it is as easy as it is. So thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel, Spiritually Vegan, and we look forward to seeing you for the next video, which we will upload in the next couple of weeks. Vidhyabhaskarji, thank you once again. Hari Om.